For lesson 1, we are going to be looking at different types of angles. So we've got all of these important definitions here. Obviously, first, we need to know what an angle is. It's a figure formed by two rays with a common vertex. So a ray is basically like an arrow. So we've got two arrows with that common vertex. Vertex is a point of intersection between two rays, or the two sides of an angle, so that point there. Complementary angles are angles whose sum is 90 degrees. Supplementary angles have a sum of 180. So again, looking here, these two are complementary because 50 plus 40 equals 90. These two are supplementary because 120 plus 60 equals 180. You'll see oftentimes the little right angle symbol used as well to show that they're complementary. And supplementary, they form a straight line. So we could just be given some angle measures and asking you to find what is the complement or supplement. So we know complementary, they should equal 90. So I'm just doing 90 minus 12 is 78. 90 minus 46 is 44. 90 minus 58 is 32. And 90 minus 77 is 13 degrees. The reverse, looking at supplementary, these add to 180. So 180 minus 155 is 25 degrees. 180 minus 85 is 95 degrees. 180 minus 11 is 169 degrees. And 180 minus 122 is 58 degrees. Determine whether each of the following shows a complementary or supplementary angle, then solve for the missing value. So first off, we see this 90-degree symbol down here. That means these are complementary. Then we're going to solve for the missing angle. So 21 plus x should equal 90 degrees. Subtract 21, x equals 69 degrees. Over here, it forms a straight line that is supplementary. If you're having trouble remembering the difference between the two and which one's the straight line, supplementary starts with S, straight starts with S. That's how I remember it. So we've got 164 plus x equals 180. Subtract 164, we get x equals 16 degrees. Same thing for 3 and 4. I see a 90-degree right angle symbol, so we know these are complementary. So x plus 7 equals 90. We are solving by subtracting 7. We get x equals 83 degrees. Number 4, they form the straight line, so they are supplementary. X plus 156 equals 180. Minus 156, we get x equals 24 degrees. So those are some basic setups. Now let's look at when you're given some where you have to kind of set up a little bit more complex of an equation. So same thing, we're going to determine whether it's complementary or supplementary, then set up an equation and solve for x. So here we see our little right angle symbol, complementary. They add to 190. So my equation is 2x plus 40 should equal 90 degrees. And then I'm going to solve this equation. It's a two-step equation. Subtract 40. They cancel out. We're left with 2x equals 50. Divide by 2, and we get that x equals 25. We didn't ask for what the actual angle measure was here. We're just looking at what is the value of x. Number 6, it forms a straight line, so it is supplementary. So I'm setting my equation equal to 180. So 6x plus the other angle of 60 should equal 180 degrees. Now I have a two-step equation I can solve. Subtract 60 from both sides, cancels out. I'm left with 6x equals 120. Divide by 6, and we get x equals 20. Number 7 can look a little bit trickier because we've got this line extending, but really we just have this line right here with those two values. So it forms a straight line, so they are supplementary. So I'm setting them equal to 180. So 35 plus the other value of 12x plus 1 equals 180. Before I solve, I'm going to combine the 35 and 1. So this really is 12x plus 36 equals 180. Now I'm going to solve. Subtract 36 from both sides. I get 12x equals 144. Divide by 12. We get x equals 12. Number 8, they form the straight line, so they are supplementary. So I'm setting up my equation, 3x plus 45 equals 180. I'm solving this equation by subtracting 45 from both sides, and we get 3x equals 135. Divide by 3, we get x equals 45. All right, that was complementary and supplementary angles. Now let's look at two more types of angles, which is adjacent and vertical. So adjacent means next to. So if you want to kind of write a note to yourself, it means next to. So angles that share a common side and vertex. So here, and I'm just going to put them in parentheses, 1 and 2 are a set of adjacent angles because they're next to each other. They share that line. 2 and 4 are also adjacent angles. They're next to each other. They share this ray. 4 and 3, they are right next to each other. And then 3 and 1. Vertical angles are opposite angles formed by two intersecting lines. So we have this line intersects that line. When we have the vertical angles, it's these opposites. So 3 and 2 are one set of vertical angles. And then the other set, I'm just going to draw kind of two lines with it, are 1 and 4. And what you'll note is it says vertical angles are congruent, so it makes sense. 3 and 2 look similar size, 1 and 4 look similar size. So number 9, we've got these opposite angles here. These are vertical angles. And then it says solve for the missing value. Vertical angles are congruent, so x is 21. Number 10, we have adjacent angles. They are next to each other. Doesn't mean that they add up to 90 or 180. They're just adjacent. So we have this whole entire length is 160. And then this part is 56. So to find x, we're going to do 167 minus 56, which is 111. Number 11, a little bit hard to see, but we just have all of these angles next to each other. Some people might want to think that this is a vertical angle, but that would only be if you had this straight line right here, which we don't have. So since they're all just next to each other, that is an adjacent angle. So we have the whole entire length is 236. We are going to subtract the portions, the 119 and the 76, to find out what x is. So I'm doing 236 minus 119 minus 76, and I get 41. And then number 12, they are opposites with these intersecting lines as our vertical angles. And they are congruent, so x is going to be 162 degrees. The last thing we're going to look at is kind of a little bit more complicated setup, but still just using these ideas of vertical angles, adjacent angles, complementary and supplementary angles. They are the same things. This one we're going to find the value of y, and this one we're going to find the value of x. So I have y here. I don't want to set it up with an equation with x because I don't know the x value. So I can either look at this and say, oh, I have a straight line, so these two are supplementary, or I have intersecting lines, so these two are vertical. I'm going to use the vertical angles, but again, both setups could work. Since they are vertical, they are congruent, so 12y plus 35 is equal to 155. Then we're going to solve that equation. We get 12y equals 155 minus 135 is 120. And then we're dividing by 12, and we get y equals 10. So now for 14, we're looking for x. So we could plug in the y value that we know, or we could just use the information that we've got. So again, I could look at vertical angles and know that this angle is congruent to that one, or we can do supplementary. Let's just do supplementary, so we're trying it the other way. So we're going to say 155 plus 7x minus 3 equals 180. Before I solve, I'm going to combine 155 and negative 3 is 152. So we get 7x plus 152 equals 180. Going to subtract 152 from both sides. We get 7x equals 28. Divide by 7, and we get x equals 4. So both routes work. I think it probably would have been easier just to set it equal to 25 and solving that way. And that's it.